آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلود استادیوم.
Hey guys, it's Chad. Welcome to another little news brief. I want to get you guys caught up. I am in the desert. I mean, things are escalating in the desert of the Middle East. I might as well come out here to the desert of Las Vegas and fill you in. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on between Israel and Iran. There's a lot of stuff developing and a lot of stuff that's happened over the weekend. I mean, the Middle East, as we know, it's a powder keg, folks, and it's a powder keg that could touch and affect our lives very fast. The fuse is absolutely burning fast, folks. They're trading blows, as you've seen from various clips that are out there. We're going to show you plenty more. There's some incredible footage that's coming out of both Iran and Israel, specifically missiles and bombs that are dropping over Israel, frightening things, getting a lot of reports. I'm talking to a lot of people who are literally on the ground there in Tel Aviv, and they say they've never seen anything like this, and these tensions could be escalating to a point where we may be going back, decades here, 50 years, to see some things that are about to happen. But the problem is, as you know, technology and weapons have gotten a lot more sophisticated, and we might see a lot more bombs, blood, and fire that's going to happen before this thing gets any better, if it gets any better, because what started as a regional tension that has always been there has the potential to spiral into a global catastrophe, folks. I'm sitting out here. I'm looking out this window here at Las Vegas. I'm taking a look at the world you and I have come to know, the first world comforts and the overblown sense of security that all of us have come to enjoy as Americans. And then you see clips like this where missiles are, this is not the 4th of July, folks. We're used to seeing this and with the oohs and the ahs. This is something with screams of bloody treachery and the loss of life and the loss of freedoms. I mean, you see these missiles when they're hitting the ground. I mean, these people are right there. This is right outside of their flats, out of their condos, out of their apartments. I mean, it is hitting close to home. While here in America, most of us are distracted. Most of us are scrolling TikTok, sipping our lattes, while the world inches towards something that we haven't seen in generations, which is a true world conflict. Folks, I want us to wake up. I want us to pray. I want us to be very aware about what's going on. Today, I want to dig in a little bit to the facts and some of the fallout in the future of this Iran and Israel escalation. This is horrifying to see. We've already heard reports of casualties as well as injuries and the destruction of property. Why does this matter? Because I think that a lot of folks in America, a lot of us, we turn on our news and it's just become a soundbite or it's just become a visual that we see and we just flip it off and we think, oh, they'll handle it. Somebody's in control. But folks, we live in a day and age where I don't think anything's ever been quite like this before. With Donald Trump in as the president, he's obviously one of the most polarizing figures in human history. I truly believe the man is desiring peace. He's pursuing peace, but he's getting drugged into this. If you are MAGA, if you are America first, if you are America only, this should be very concerning for you because we could be watching a spiral that's happening, a true state of entropy that I think the mainstream's not going to talk to you about. This isn't fear-mongering. This is a wake-up call because when the Middle East burns, the whole world's going to feel that heat. And I think we're in the middle of this. You saw this clip here where here she is. She's this is Iranian state media, and she's giving the marching orders here. She's barking and pushing the militant rhetoric here, and she gets bombed right here on live TV. Play this clip again there.
که شنیدید صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلود استادیوم.
Yep, she's done. She was done with that conversation. She was out of there. That does tend to end the rhetoric right there. Israel, as you see from this clip here, wipes out a third of Iran's missiles, drastically reducing Tehran's strike overnight. I mean, Israel is in the process of literally obliterating Iran. Only took about 4 days for Israel to defeat Iran. And Iran is now at a place where they are begging for a ceasefire. They are, 75 times the size of Israel and much larger in terms of population. And they're wanting to de-escalate the hostilities with Israel and negotiate. The problem with Netanyahu and Israel is they don't take well to having missiles dropped on their big cities. They're going to obliterate them. I don't think that they're going to back off on this. I think they've heard enough from the Ayatollah. I think they've heard enough from these state sponsors of terrorism around the globe. When you're dropping bombs in the neighborhood, you've heard enough. So Iran's leadership has been decimated. Many of their generals and their scientists have been wiped out. And we got a report over the weekend that says Trump actually vetoed an assassination that was intended for the Ayatollah. And that to me tells me that Trump is pursuing some form of peace. Benjamin Netanyahu responded by saying that the top assassination target in the world on the part of Iran is Donald Trump, which begs the question, regardless of what you think about Israel, I can play devil's advocate on both sides. Let me just say this. I want to say this very carefully, by the way. If let's say Israel wanted to truly escalate and push America into war with Iran, what's keeping Israel from staging, faking, attempting something that would look like an assassination attempt on the part of Iran, but that was actually backed by Israel? Now, would they do that? I don't know. I would hope they wouldn't do that. But I think that all cards are on the table at this point. I think everything is at play at this point. Yes, I mean, if I'm sitting here trying to get the United States into a war with Iran, if I'm sitting there in a position of power and I'm in Israel and I had the opportunity to stage what looked like an assassination attempt on Donald Trump in order to escalate this and push America into war with Iran, what's to keep them from doing that? This is the type of volatile powder keg that I'm talking about. Who do you trust in any of this? I don't think we trust anybody. This is why we are America only. This is why we're America first. And this is why we are advocating and adamant about no new wars. Iran is probably the most dangerous nation on the earth, wanting to go to toe-to-toe with the most battle-hardened high-tech military in the Middle East, which is Israel, and they're not afraid to die. Iran's not playing checkers. They really are playing a long-term apocalyptic endgame. You don't trust anything that they say. I don't know that you trust anybody in this stage of the game. Iran is not just some rogue country with a chip on their shoulder. They are a theocratic regime that is hell bent on dominance religiously, regionally, globally. We talked about this last week. This is a nation that funds terror groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, the Shiite militias in Iraq. And these groups don't just chant death to America for fun. I mean, they're armed, trained, and funded by Iran to make it happen. We can't forget, as I stated again last week, the splinter cells that exist in this country because of Joe Biden's administration and his open border policy. Barack Obama, you see this, handed Iran a $50 billion plus, which again, what do you think they were going to do when he handed them that money? They quickly armed themselves. So what you're seeing is your tax dollars exploding in midair, being used to attack Israel, potentially being used to attack us. We also fund Israel's defenses. So our government is funding both sides of this. We're watching this happen in real time. Iran, of course, if they had a nuclear weapon, I have no doubt they would have already used it. They were just days away. Days away. As we stated last week, and one thing I like to say on the Chad Prather show is I'm never wrong. I told you they were 60% weapons grade purity. They were days away from matching ballistic missile capabilities with the uranium enriched warhead. This is a psychotic regime. Israel knows what they're capable of. That's why they started this strike. It's a powder keg, folks. That's the only way I know to call it. And they're trying to drag us into what I call their ideological time bomb. This is not good. Play a little bit of this clip from Ben.
Well, I want people to understand is Iran was probably days away from matching the capabilities from ballistic missile capabilities with a nuclear uranium-enriched warhead. Okay, days away. If they were in that period, since we and we've all been talking about this, Steve, for a long time. We have a psychotic regime, and most of whom their leadership has been taken out. And I posted this morning that I have reports that the Ayatollah may have been wounded in one of those strikes. So that's out there. So we have a psychotic regime that has not only talked about the annihilation of the nation state of Israel, but also talked about how we, as the great Satan, need to be annihilated from the planet. So these are psychotic leaders. I have video now that has been sent to me from inside of Iran that has shows the people of Iran celebrating this attack by the Israelis. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, period. Now, back to your bigger question about, was this a unilateral effort? I think that whoever's using those words needs to really rethink those and be very careful about who's using them. If it's the Israeli regime or if it's the Israelis that are using it, then, we have to be suspect, because if we're providing intelligence, and we are, then not implied, but specifically involved in supporting the attack itself. So there's a broader regional conflict that is playing out right now. The other part that I did not add in this morning that I think people need to be aware of, because I'm going to be carrying this later today or tomorrow, is what's China's role? Because the Chinese are the biggest beneficiary right now of what is happening globally, specifically in the region of the Middle East, because of their One Belt initiative. And they have massive amounts of resources that flow into Africa, flow into Europe, and flow back through the Persian Gulf and back through Iran. So China's a big beneficiary. And for President Trump recently to have cut a deal with Xi, where I guess he's going to continue to allow Chinese students that are into our universities who are ripping us off every single day of intellectual property and going back. We spend $10 billion on a weapon system. They spend $100 million. I mean, because they've got the blueprints. I mean, so there's some things that are happening.
The scene.
All right, let's stop it right there. So I very much so trust General Flynn and his assessment in this. I think that he's exactly right. I think he's the guy with his finger on the pulse here. I want to remind you guys, to his point, Iran isn't standing alone. They are backed by Russia. They are backed by China. They're building alliances with the BRICS nations while America's distracted by TikTok trends. This overall, folks, is not a good thing. And don't forget, the BRICS nations in July are meeting to further devalue the American dollar. The Rio reset is on schedule to happen in just a matter of weeks. There's a lot of things that are going on, plus China, their Belt and Road initiative that travels into Africa and through Iran and all those things. They are going to benefit from this stuff. So it's not Iran being a failed regime or a failed state or them begging for a ceasefire or de-escalation. You got to remember, there's others that are backing them up, that are propping them up, and that's going to continue to happen. If China or Russia continues to push this, you got a global balance that's on the line here. You got oil markets, strategic waterways, the Strait of Hormuz, the potential world war scenarios, the very real threat of superpowers being dragged into regional conflicts that could go nuclear in a heartbeat. Folks, we're praying about this. We're praying about this daily, and I want you to stay very well aware. And ultimately, what I'm telling you is trust no one, pray for peace, America first, America only. And yes, we back our allies. We will do that, but we have got to pray that the decisions being made in Washington, D.C. right now on the part of this administration are the ones that keep America out of a regional conflict or even proxy wars. It could happen right here, immediately, overnight, without expectation. I'm sitting here in Las Vegas, a place where you can't tell me that a splinter cell is not ready to go right here in this city. They literally target a place like Las Vegas because they hate this place. To them, it is the epitome of the great Satan. Folks, we're living on a powder keg right here in our own country. Let's be aware and let's be prayerful. Let's see what happens. I will be back with more as we know more. So make sure that you are clicking like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, this Rumble channel, wherever you're watching this, wherever you're picking this up. Make sure that you're following along, and we will keep you abreast of things as best we can, because it's going to keep on changing, folks. I love you. God bless you. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.